My question is, I'm a board member of a small African organization. This year alone, we've had 4 of our employees be deported to Africa, and we've had so many volunteers deported to Africa. So my question to you is there a government study that tells us exactly what happens to these people we happen to deport to wherever they come from? Because some of them we've read in the Toronto Star. Some of them, especially the lady from Mexico, the weeks after she was deported, she was killed by the husband that she claimed would kill her if she was to be removed to Mexico. So do you guys do a study, and what do you guys learn from this kind of experience?
And we will address all at once at the end. Yes.
Well, one question. What I heard about the treatment of Roma here is very similar to what I know about the treatment of Roma in Germany, where I come from, especially the systematic denial of the situation. Even it is documented by the European Union. So my question is, do you think there is some kind of learning process between the European states and Canada adapts the ideas of the European treatment, or how do they explain the similarities? Well, everybody knows they are discriminated, but nobody accepts that, and so on.
So the first one was around, if I was to summarize, to what extent are we looking or following up on the consequences from removals of people when they head back, what we have in the CIC is our what we call PRO, or the Pre-Removal Risk Assessment Unit, which looks at all cases before someone is removed to assess what is the risk involved with that. And there's no question that for them it's not just, we're making it based on our ivory tower information we have here. As decisions are made, then they are aware of some of those consequences. I guess there's no formal way of following up with people, but I guess when situations like the one that you're giving come back, then they become well aware of that. All I can say is that they're doing their best based on what the person is sharing around assessing the risk to their safety, and before they would make that kind of a decision, and that's built into the process. Is there an investigative team that goes overseas in order to do that? No, there isn't, and I'm not sure how we could do that, but I certainly hear what he's saying.
But just to add on that, at the IRB, they do have researchers who are being, sent to different countries to do that kind of research in terms of country conditions, and then put out a report to help adjudicators to guide them with their decision making.
Thank you, Nicholas. So I'm not as sure that I grasp what they were looking for, but essentially, are we learning from some of the process that the European Union is going through and the U.S. around their own treatment of, I guess you're thinking of the Romani community in particular, mm-hmm. And I can say that dialogue is happening between all of the refugee receiving countries where there aren't the ones that are accepting people under our resettlement process to talk about some of those values. I guess the issue for the European Union, which has a number of where, for example, all the people, there's mobility that exists for people within the European Union, and they also have responsibilities around protection of citizens within the European Union that are part of their framework, and there's a regulation process there. So I guess I'm not being an apologist here. I'm just saying that I think what he was asking is they need to be taken care of, following through on their own responsibilities that they do have. And similarly, if for example, as you were saying, where all these cases are going before the IRB, then I would be counting on the IRB to make sure that they have a proper assessment of what is that risk for those people in those countries. And I guess the question is really, how well is that working?
Right. And the other speakers on?
Okay. Yeah, so I just, I'm not really sure how much time we have left, but let me just talk about the last question about relationships between EU and Canada. I mean, what comes to my mind is Angela Merkel's statement of a couple of years ago that multiculturalism is a failure in Germany, and how multiculturalism, I don't know, I guess Canada style, has largely been rejected in European Union member states. Do we have a lot to learn from them? Gosh, part of me is saying I hope not. And then maybe the reverse might be true. However, Canadian multiculturalism is often a bit of a superficial as well, because it glosses over real inequalities, patterns of systematic racism on the ground, and what else do I want to say there? It might mitigate the worst effects of racism, but we have had white supremacist groups who banded together and demonstrated on the streets of refugee shelters when Romani first came here in 1998. So.
Well, I just wanted to add that I'm actually responsible for the multiculturalism program in Ontario as well, and no, that's fine, and I can't agree with you more that that's the challenge, and that's what we're trying to change, is to not have situations like that ever occur, and to the extent that we're able to. And so the projects and the events that we're part of around bringing people together through all the different communities and giving voice to people in minority situations, so that they can be, I guess it's a bit like around a bullying program, where you're, by engaging everyone around, then some of these kinds of things can no longer be said, because everyone will step up and say, this isn't acceptable, this is what we believe, we have a common vision, and here is what we want to see happen. And that's really, I think, would help towards what she's describing.
In conclusion, I would actually like to thank all the panelists for their participation. It's nice to have a diversity of views represented here, especially with the presence of someone representing the government, because I hope, we could see this kind of dialogues more often, because not everything is black and white, and I think it's nice to have this kind of dialogue, so it's not always everything is about us and them. It's about us as a Canada, as that we want to continue that humanitarian traditions here. Thank you, and please give an applause to all the speakers.